Hey, this is Will Power, and you're listening to the Indie Sports Car Podcast.
Welcome, ICP fans, to another episode of the Indie Sports Car Podcast. Hey, Missy.
Hello. And we have a special guest joining us tonight, or I should say a returning guest, driver of the number 22 for Paps Racing, currently sitting in second place in the USF 2000 standings, but not for long. Welcome back to the show, Hunter McElrea. Welcome back, Hunter.
Thank you very much.
Hunter, thanks for coming back on the show, man.
No worries. It's cool to be back on, and it doesn't seem like that long ago I was speaking to you after on the shootout, and now we're speaking to you pretty much just over halfway through the championship. So pretty cool how that worked out.
Yeah, definitely. I was trying to think. I'm pretty sure the last time you were on was before, it was like a week before St. Pete, right?
I think it was a little bit longer. I think it was literally probably maybe a month out, I'm guessing. And the funny thing is I remember talking to you about like turn one and how crazy it is. Like there's always a crash at turn one at St. Pete, and we're talking about things like that. And then obviously I was starting second, I think, in my first race. Obviously the crazy stuff happened, and Barron outbroke himself and barrel rolled over me. So the first kind of corner I ever did in the USA 2000 race was like we talked about. So that was I guess a pretty good prediction, I guess I could say.
Well, there you go. It was like, the most insane, turn you'll ever see is your first turn ever at St. Pete, and there you go. So I guess we've been around a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely the craziest moment I've probably had in a race car and kind of gotten away with, I guess you could say, because literally he barrel rolled over the top of me and I had no significant damage, I should say. So that was very lucky.
Well, you just got to, it was like a Ghost 4X on iRacing, but you were able to keep going. There you go.
Literally.
That's awesome. So, if you had to sum up your season so far in a few words, how would you call it?
Overall, I would say it's been very strong for the most part. I started the season off with 4 straight podiums. Then the Oval was my first kind of, I guess you could say, tough result. We had a lot of potential. We were really quick in practice and things like that. And in qualifying, I was looking to put it on pole after my first lap. Obviously, they did a 2-lap average. And then the second lap, I just pushed that little bit too much and made contact with the wall, which meant I started last. And then around Lucas Oil, there's that one high line and passing is near impossible. So coming from last to 11th was the maximum there. So that was probably the first tough result. And leading on from that, we bounced back at Road America, and I got pole on the win, which was by a pretty big margin. So that was awesome to get my first win in pole. And then, we just obviously wrapped up Toronto, which was a roller coaster weekend. But overall, we've had 7 out of 9 podiums, a win in pole, and sitting second in points. So, you can always look back at results and kind of, in hindsight, look at what you could have done better, which is always going to be the case. But overall, I guess you could say, content with it. I've learned a lot, but I'm really excited for the last 6 races. I think we're going to be pretty strong. All the tracks are kind of the tracks that we know we're going to be, I think, pretty strong at. And I think the goal for me definitely is just to go out and get pole positions and race wins and really bring this championship home. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. But yeah, just really living the dream and having a lot of fun.
So I know you said Road America was your first win. Were you anticipating it starting on pole, or was it a lot tougher trying to keep it in first at Road America?
The thing is that I missed out on pole by 300ths on the first day, and I won race 1 off third, which I got to the lead early on and just drove away from the field. So that was awesome. And once I kind of got to the lead, I knew that week you kind of sometimes you have these weekends where you just know you're the fastest, and as soon as you go out and practice, you and the car kind of just gel, and the track, and you kind of just have that feeling that you can't really describe. And those weekends are the best weekends, and that weekend was definitely one of those moments. And I knew when I got to the lead that I just needed to have no mistakes, and which is what I did, and we bring the win home. And then obviously qualifying, we were able to dominate qualifying 2. And I think I pitted with like 6 minutes to go in the session, and we honestly, especially in USF 2000 sessions where it's so close, like it's unheard of to kind of pit with time remaining, but we had such a big gap that I was able to do that, and that was awesome. And then the Sunday race, which I think I saw you guys after the podium, I was a little bit disappointed with third, mainly just because we had before the race, I'm not 100% sure what happened, but we had some little issues that were outside of our control with the engine, and basically it was looking like I wasn't even going to get to start the race. But Elite Engines and my awesome guys from Paps Racing got the car running. It wasn't, probably optimum, and we were lacking a bit of straight line speed, which ultimately cost us the win. But we bring home third and solid points. So, sometimes these things happen, but yeah, just how it went that weekend.
So, I mean, like you're basically following your hero's, recipe of winning a championship is, you don't have to win every race, but as long as you're there at the end at every race, you're gonna have good results and be right there for the challenge for the championship. So.
Definitely. I think, obviously I want to be winning as many races as I can. That's always the goal. And I think, I think it's possible for us to go out and win lots of races, but I think this year definitely we've just been extremely consistent. We've been on the podium more than anyone else, and that's what's kept me in the championship fight. But, for us to really bring it home right now is the kind of time that I need to kind of go on a streak, I think. So I definitely think it's possible, but I'm not gonna do anything drastically different to what I've been doing. I'm just gonna keep trusting the process and trusting my own ability and the team's the team's and myself's ability to do what we do, and I think everything else will come. But definitely, I think what you're talking about there with referencing Scott Dixon's kind of consistency, that's what's kept me in the championship chase.
Right on. Yeah, I was going to say you're right, Scott Dixon. I don't think I mentioned that, but so what's it been like having Scott Dixon? You growing up watching him and basically idolizing the man, and then having him basically helping you out throughout the season. How's that been, and what would you say is probably the biggest lesson you've learned from him?
Well, honestly, the reason that I wanted to probably become an IndyCar driver was watching him win in 2008 the Indy 500. So I was only 8 years old when he won, and I told him that, which is he found pretty funny. But Road America after Saturday, when I won, I met up with him, and we just talked really, and just to kind of bounce ideas off a guy like that, it's always extremely, extremely not only awesome but very useful just to hear what he says and hear his points of view and all that kind of stuff. So when I met up with him, it was pretty. I wouldn't say. I don't know the word. Like, in a way, you kind of obviously you fanboy a little bit because it's your hero, but it felt very kind of relaxed, and you were just speaking to someone that he made you feel like you were speaking to someone on his, on equal terms, where a guy like him could easily make you feel like you were a lot lesser, if you know what I mean. So he's just a super, super cool guy, and obviously it's why he's where he is today, because not only can he drive a car really good, but he's also just an amazing person out of the car. So yeah, it's awesome to have a guy like that just to even give you the time of day.
Yeah, I mean, like, and plus your your self-confidence alone. I mean, to have the respect of like a caliber driver like Scott Dixon, even if he wasn't your childhood hero growing up, just to have that respect from a driver like that is just really awesome.
Oh, 100%, definitely.
Did you see him at Road America? He went from last to 5th.
I know. I mean, Scott Dixon had the best drive of the whole weekend, I thought, to be honest.
Yeah, that was intense.
I mean,
I watched him get turned around. I think it was Hunter Ray, maybe. I'm not sure. Like, I was watching it turn 5.
I have it on video. I actually videotaped the whole thing right there at turn 5. We were there at the hill there to the left of the bridge. Yep. And I actually have that spin. Like, it seemed like an eternity that he was behind everybody, and since it was it's not like yellows helped him out to get back to 5th. It never went yellow, so for him to get spun around and be like 20 seconds behind the last place car, then all of a sudden 3 laps later for him to be passing the last place car, it seemed crazy to me how he was just trucking through the field.
Yeah. That's it. I think it's the ability for him to, when stuff like that happens, to maximize the results. I think that's when championships are won, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Obviously, championships and everything are won when you're winning races and things like that. But the days that things don't go right, the way that you can kind of maximize those days is the big thing as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad day for Scott Dixon when he finishes 5th.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Hunter, you were talking at Lucas Oil because it was your first oval. You had a little bit of a rough race. I mean, other than that though, what did you like driving on an oval, or is it not your cup of tea?
I definitely wouldn't say I definitely didn't dislike it. It's just a whole different thing, I just hadn't had. It was my first oval experience, like you said, and I think the biggest thing for me is just to take the lessons that I learned away from that weekend. I learned a lot, and although it wasn't ideal at all, especially when I'm fighting for a championship, to come away with an 11th finish, and an 11th place finish doesn't sound very hot. Starting 19th, we were the biggest mover of the race. Our pace, considering everything was good, I proved that I was one of the quickest of the weekend, apart from that kind of crash. But I think the biggest thing, like I said, is just taking the positives from it. It's one of those things where I think it's unfinished business. So I'm looking forward to my next race at an oval where I can build on that. But I think it's just, again, like respecting it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people, I think, go into it not expecting how difficult and how different it is. But like I said, it's a whole different kind of kettle of fish. But yeah, overall, I like it, and I'm just looking forward to getting on the next time I get on an oval.
I mean, especially Lucas Oil, it doesn't promote passing.
No, not at all. It's one high line basically, and if you're obviously the way that the banking works at that track, if you get low to try past someone, the balance of the car completely changes, and it's almost kind of scary, especially when you're racing so close and at sometimes even 3 wide. But that's just how it is, and yeah, you just deal with it.
Right on. I mean, but and Lucas Oil is such a small track. It's almost just like a preview of what an oval can really be, you know. And like,
Yeah,
it just really makes you appreciate kind of like the 7/8 oval, like Iowa coming up this weekend, you know, and just how many G's they're pushing for how long they're doing it. You're just like, wow, you know.
yeah,
And
definitely,
I thought Lucas Oil was crazy.
exactly.
That's awesome. I mean, they really but you definitely looking forward to, just like you said, unfinished business for next year. But I don't know, like Missy, what wasn't I think it was Promaz at the time. Promaz and Indy Lights do Iowa like 2 years ago, together.
No, I thought it was last year.
Was it last year? I mean, I kind of hope they go back to that, but they cut out Lucas Oil for that, didn't they?
No,
No.
they still had Lucas Oil last year too.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm thinking of then. Anyways, but so what would you say was like just like a weekend where like everything just went wrong, but I mean like other than Lucas Oil, like everything went wrong, but you prevailed and you fought back, and it was almost like a satisfying kind of like end to a race. Not like it was a win or anything, but kind of like a Scott Dixon kind of moment.
Like this year you're talking about in this championship?
Yeah.
To be honest, it's been pretty smooth sailing apart from, like I said, the oval and probably race 2 at Toronto just the past weekend. Toronto, which I haven't really gotten into yet. Basically, like I said, was just a massive roller coaster. Overall, just a lot of lessons learned, but podium in race 1 and then race 2, because of a mistake in qualifying, I was starting 11th. And I drove from 11th to 5th in 8 laps. So it was at that point going pretty well. And I think we were the fastest car on the track at the time. And yeah, it was good, just fighting through the pack. And we got a yellow, which was even better because it backed the whole field up again. And at that point, it was kind of looking like, even a win was possible, just with the way that the momentum was working. But unfortunately, I was kind of in a battle with another car and then kind of half defended and then just broke offline and ended up making contact with the wall. And long story short, I had to pit for damage and the finished 14th, 2 laps down. So definitely not ideal. But other than that race and the oval, it's been pretty smooth sailing, like I said, with being not off the podium. So a satisfying race. To be honest, the most satisfying race was probably the win. I'd definitely have to say, just because, working so hard for it, the team worked so hard for it, and when you finally get that like big weight off your shoulders and reward the team with what I believe they deserved for, a long time, because, they hadn't at that point, the team hadn't had a win for over a year since VK. So yeah, that's definitely the most satisfying race so far. But to be honest, I think we've got many more of those moments to come, hopefully, for the last 3 rounds.
And speaking of Road America, I mean, like the crowd was just amazing for you guys, wasn't it? Like that was like such a great response, like at a victory circle for you guys. And I mean, I was really taken back by how many people were there. Like when they, I remember when Rob Howden said your name and just the uproar of all the fans that was there. I was like, all right, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that was definitely. I'm glad you bring that up because like that was amazing. I wasn't really expecting that many people, but we had a lot of family and friends there, and it's the team's home race. So there was a lot of, like the team's friends and family. So I knew that was going to be good. But even just people that I didn't know, people that were kind of just race fans as well. Like, I literally think, and you would have been there as well, there would have been, there was just hundreds and hundreds of people there, which was like blew my mind, So it wasn't until I was kind of like standing on the podium and actually looked at everyone, because when when you first get out the car, all you kind of want to do is just jump around and celebrate with the team, and you don't really notice all that. But when I was on the podium looking at everyone, that was a pretty surreal moment. So definitely something that I won't forget for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Missy, you remember that? Like, just the feeling. I mean, it was a really great feeling. Just as a fan. Well, I mean, I guess I mean, just being a fan of the series and a fan of you personally, and just seeing your just, I mean, you weren't hiding the fact that you were really happy that win. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
definitely well earned. I mean, for first win of the season, and it was like a lot of hard work paying off. So
Definitely.
and
It's a lot of weight. It was a lot of weight off my shoulders, I think. But yeah, just I think the first one's always pretty special. For me,
there, right?
I think I was saying to Rob Howden that morning, it was like I hadn't had that long without a win my whole career. So it was only 5 races, but obviously, as I get up the levels, hopefully it is to be expected as the competition gets a lot more harder, and kind of everyone you race against is a champion in their own right. You can't expect to be just winning every single weekend, but yeah, that was a very good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get. Yeah, so it's definitely a moment you won't forget, none too soon. I'm sure.
Definitely.
So you got I guess you got Mid Ohio coming up, right? That's the next race for road to Indy. It's only 2 weeks, right?
Just over a week away now. So yeah, week and a half. So
yep, July
can't wait.
27th and 28th. Yep. I mean, so have you done any testing at Mid Ohio, or will this be your first time there?
We had an official test there, I think 3 weeks ago now. So that was good. Just to, obviously, every track that I go to this year is a new track for me, basically. So to go to a track that I know is always nice. It's a luxury, I guess you could say, this year anyway. So to kind of spend to spend practice not learning the track and kind of going straight into developing the car and things like that if we need to, or whatever. It's just nice to not have to worry about learning how to drive the track. So
sure,
there's a lot of, I think we've got a test day before the race as well on the Thursday. So it's going to be a lot of practice compared to many rounds. Like the street tracks, we only get 1 20-minute practice session, and then or maybe a 30-minute practice session, I should say, and then straight into qualifying. So you kind of get used to that. But yeah, it'll be nice to have a fair few practice sessions before the weekend. And yeah, I really like the track, and we were really fast there in testing. So I don't see why we shouldn't have a strong weekend there.
Did any part of the track take you by surprise?
To be honest, I just really liked the place. I think technical kind of tracks I've always gone well at. Just kind of tracks that have, I wouldn't say that Road America and Mid Ohio are similar, but they both have a really nice flow to it. You know what I mean? Like there's fast corners. Obviously, Road America is very fast track, but Mid Ohio has a lot of fast corners as well. Obviously, there's some slow corners in the mix as well, but overall, it's just very technical. And I guess the word that I like to use to describe it is got a very nice flow to it. So tracks like that I always kind of gone well at naturally. So I think it'll be a good weekend, and yeah, I just look forward to getting on track.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a deceptively fast track. It doesn't look like you can be faster because of all like the the slow corners and the hairpin and all that, but you get going and it's really quick.
Yeah, it's especially like turn 11 and things like that. The key, no, sorry, not the keyhole, the kink, turn 12, and just a lot of those places. It's a very kind of, if you make a mistake at one corner, the next three corners you'll be compromised because
Sure.
they each kind of lead onto each other, which is, I guess, what I was referring to when I was talking about the flow of the track. But yeah, I think it's a really cool track, and it was one of those ones that you always look forward to driving. Obviously, like Laguna and Road America was at the start of the year, all these kind of iconic tracks. Because, for me, before I came over here, I knew about all these tracks, so to be driving them now is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and like I would say, Toronto and Mid Ohio are like the two main event weekends that really kind of set up the rest of the championship for you guys. And like I've seen a lot of drivers have Mid Ohio make or break their championship season right then and there, like coming down to just like a flat tire and in race 3 with Parker Thompson 3 years ago when he was racing for Cape. So I mean, like it's no pressure or anything. But
Yeah, I know. It's I think it was always like that anyway. Kind of, especially like you said, leading into the last 3 rounds, it's make or break really. So, I'm not putting any extra pressure on myself or anything like that because it's not productive to do that. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Obviously constantly trying to improve myself, but at the same time, just trusting myself and knowing that I can do the job and knowing that I got the team behind me to do it. And I think we'll be fine.
Right. So you fully expect yourself to be in that Mazda Soul Red livery for another season, right? I mean, I don't know. Are they doing that next year, Missy? Do you know? I'm not sure.
I think Mazda's still doing the scholarships. They're just not the main sponsor anymore.
Right. So the championship winner will still be Soul Red for next year. Okay. I mean, I just want to know how to find Hunter on the track next year. That's all.
Yeah. Put it this way: if there's an opportunity to have the same livery as I do this year, next year, I definitely want to be doing that. Obviously, it's a pleasure to be representing like such an iconic brand in motorsport. John Doonan, obviously, and everyone else at Mazda Motorsports as well has given me this incredible opportunity. So yeah, to be representing this livery and the brand that is Mazda Motorsports is pretty special. So yeah, I really want to be putting that livery where it belongs, and I think that's definitely in victory lane. So we'll see how we go.
Also, Cooper tires. I mean, like because you guys normally don't like you said earlier. It's very weird to have a pit stop during green flag conditions in USF or Pro Mazda.
Yeah.
I mean, or Indy Lights for that matter. I mean, unless you guys are switching over to wet tires. But I mean, as far as Cooper tires go, I mean, have tires been holding up all race for you guys?
Yeah, obviously our races are like 40 minutes, around that, 45 minutes, depending kind of on safety cars and things like that. But I have driven on only, I think, maybe 4 different kind of compounds of tires, I guess you could say. But Cooper tires would probably have to be the most, I'd say, consistent and the most with the most longevity than any other tyre that I've driven. Just in terms of like qualifying and obviously it varies track to track, but in qualifying, a lot of the time you can see pole time, especially when we go to a street track or something like that. But even at Road America, I think my pole lap was literally my last flying lap that I did. And, a lot of the time that's kind of unheard of, especially last year when I raced Formula Ford. Sometimes you'd be going out doing, one warm-up lap and then one flying lap and pitting because literally after one lap, the tyres had lost their edge. So I think that just speaks volumes of, the consistency, like I was talking about, that the tyre has and the longevity over, a long period of time. And you can really push it quite hard and really feel no real kind of degradation throughout the race. So, yeah, I think Cooper Tyres definitely do a really good job of everything.
I mean, definitely. I mean, we've gotten so used to hearing Rob Howden talk about, that the heat's finally getting up to, that the tires are finally getting up to temperature towards the end of your qualifying runs every time, and that's when, that's when you start looking for the track record laps, So definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So going into Mid Ohio, second place in the points. You're only, if my math serves me correct, which I'm terrible at on the fly, it looks like you're, I'm going to say 30 plus 41 points. That's it. That's nothing. That's two races at Mid Ohio, and you're in first. That's how I see it. Literally the swing is that close. So, it's going to be a great championship to follow, and, everybody needs to be following it. And it's very easy to follow this year and, produce and everything. NBC Gold is just really great. No? Okay.
USF 2000 is the one.
Well, still, but it's still easy for the fan to, for the fans out there to watch, if they're not there live at the track. Which if you can't make it live in Mid Ohio, then you must not be on Earth. You should be there.
It'll be a good weekend, I think, definitely. So, hope to see everyone out there.
Yeah, it's definitely like the same, like like how Road America was sold out all 3 days or what have you. Mid Ohio has the same feel to it. The crowds are just as big from Friday to Saturday to Sunday. It's one of those really great road courses. It'll be our 10th year this year going there in a row. I think 9 or 10. I don't know. Miss what it is. 9 or 10.
Oh, cool.
I don't recall. It's been a while.
Lost count by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to enjoy a Charlie Kimball win there, and a Graham Rahal win. Yep. And,
cool.
And many Scott Dixon wins.
Yeah, he goes very well there.
Oh yeah, very. It's technical, very, very, you said it right. It's extremely technical, racetrack. I can't think of another track that's more technical than this track. It's because of the fast corners, of the slow corners. It's like where do you want to really set your car up for what turn of that not very long track, but boy does it change from time to time. Excuse me. All right, so Miss, is there another question that you have for Hunter regarding his season so far? Not much more you can really say. You're looking great, and I would say just start carrying the momentum. As far as Toronto goes, I would focus on the good and learn from the bad, right? So
that's it. Yeah, definitely. It's the sport that you choose. If you can't really handle, when it's not always going your way, then I don't think you should probably be racing, because there's unfortunately always going to be those lows no matter what. But I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to have a lot of highs. So I think it's just part of it, like I said, and the last half of the season, or the last three rounds of the season, I should say, look to be pretty strong. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting out on track and doing what I guess I know how to do. So
Right. Mister, do you have any other questions for him regarding the season so far?
No.
Right on. So, Hunter, we're gonna talk a little bit. I guess a little bit F1 real quick with you, and a little bit IndyCar before we let you go. And I think and the show ourselves. Do we still have a couple minutes with you? Were we able to? I mean, I know you had a dinner engagement. I'm not really sure what time we are at with that. So.
yeah, it's fine. I 10 more minutes or 15 minutes will be fine.
Perfect.
But
Perfect. So, I mean, are you a F1 fan?
I think even obviously I would probably consider myself more of an IndyCar guy, but
Oh, yeah. Same here.
I think everyone watches F1, and yeah, I think I didn't see the full race at Britain, but it looked pretty hectic. I saw obviously the onboard but the highlight reel with Vettel and Verstappen obviously crashing, and that was a pretty big hit, and they both carried on, so that was pretty interesting, I guess. And yeah, it looked to be a pretty good race.
Yeah, I mean, like, so what were your thoughts on that Vettel hit? I mean, did it look like to you that Verstappen just braked too early, or and caught Vettel by surprise? I mean, it looked very odd to me. I mean, but as a driver, what did you say?
I think that the onus is always on the car that's trying to overtake. So no matter where the car in front brakes, granted he's not braking like 400 meters too early and in the middle of the road, but if he's braking a little bit early or earlier than the car behind expects, it's not really like a legitimate excuse, if you know what I mean. Especially when you're racing that hard. So,
And especially when you're Sebastian Vettel and all. I mean,
yeah. So I think that was Vettel's fault, in my opinion. Obviously, he apologized to Max, which pretty much, sums it up that it was his fault, especially if he's apologizing for it. But
that's unheard of with Vettel.
yeah, exactly. So
you don't see
that was
Vettel
my
taking
point of view.
Yeah, you don't see Vettel taking what's the word? Taking responsibility too much for what happens,
Yeah, exactly. So I think that pretty much summed that incident up.
Missy, did you see any of the highlights of Silverstone?
Well, I actually,
Or were you
sorta.
just like, suck my Silverstone? I'm not watching this.
I actually did watch some of it. I only really remember the Max Verstappen and Vettel crash. Yeah, it was totally Vettel's fault. That's pretty much, I just, Lewis Hamilton won again. Valtteri Bottas was in second. And Charles Leclerc came in third.
Told
Next time, he will say.
You and Christian were both saying Leclerc's going to win. I'm like, no, he's not.
Dude, he's going to get a win this year. He's going to get a win this year.
No, he's not.
I hope he does.
Yes.
He's probably the guy that I want to win a race the most right now.
I know. I like him, so I want him. I want to see him win one.
Well, I mean, if you want to see him win,
It would be good for the sport
if you want to see
someone else besides a Mercedes won. How about that?
hands down, if you want to see Leclerc win, just have Ferrari tell him that they're going to fire him at the end of the year after the season. I mean, it worked for, it worked for Kimi.
Yeah, he put it on
It
at
did.
the end of the year last year.
Well, yeah, when he wasn't, making sure Vettel was winning anymore, he said, "Oh, well, I can race for myself now." All right.
I mean, I thought a surprise was Pierre Gasly. He came in fourth. I guess that's only because Max Verstappen got hit by Vettel. So but Max came in fifth, and then you had Carlos Sainz Jr., Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Räikkönen, Daniel Kvyat, Nico Hulkenberg was your top 10. Then you had Lando Norris, Alex Albon, Lance Stroll, George Russell, Robert Kubica, Sebastian Vettel, Sergio Perez, Antonio Giovinazzi, shut up, Romain Grosjean, and Kevin Magnussen, which I found interesting that those two collided with all the rich energy drink like
Yeah.
drama going on. I was just like, oh, that probably shouldn't have happened this weekend.
Yeah. It's
All that.
Both drivers with my name on it crash into each other.
It's pretty crazy seeing all that stuff going on. It's like it kind of makes you wonder whether or not, and I don't know if this is me being like a conspiracy theorist or something, but the most publicity that Rich Energy have gotten all year is right now, and it's with all this stuff going on. So
That's true.
it's almost like it makes you wonder because I don't know. It's just all the stuff. It's probably not true, but it kind of makes sense to think that.
If it was NASCAR, it would be 100% true.
Well, some of the tweets that you see, I'm just like, nah, that can't be real. Like,
that's what I think as well.
And I just laugh, and I'm like, no, that can't be serious.
Like what kind of tweets?
This one tweet I saw was literally like Rich Energy's legitimate page. Like just completely just, I think it was like a photoshopped bus with like the Rich Energy's owners like face photoshopped onto it, driving it with like, I don't know.
I did see that tweet.
I couldn't believe it. Like it's almost like it went viral, you know what I mean? And you look at any other posts that they have and it's got nowhere near as much kind of attention. So who knows? That's my thoughts anyway.
I wonder if Rich Energy has made a new hire in their PR department as of late.
Potentially.
I thought the last thing I seen on here was that the guy
is from NASCAR. That makes sense.
The majority, I guess he sold his shares to someone, a third party or something was the latest thing I saw.
Was it a PR firm?
I have no idea. I didn't even.
We need to make a splash on Twitter. That's where all the kids are. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I never even heard of Rich Energy before, and then at Indy today.
Here it is. I told you, the founder of Rich has sold his majority stake in the legal entity of Rich Energy to a third party. This was
sold all my shares. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This was in disgust. I think somebody spelled a word wrong. At conduct of duplicitous.
It's not like they can go back and edit it or anything.
I know.
Twitter. God.
In the words of Schwarzenegger, he'll be back. Like some of these tweets, I'm just like, is this even real? Who has access to this? This Twitter account, because I just can't.
I mean, look at the guy in the picture, and you're amazed. I mean.
I wonder how much he got for his majority stake. He probably made a pretty penny with all this, because again, it's a lot of publicity right now.
Well, hopefully he can afford some scissors now.
Yeah.
Man's got a great beard. Mm-hmm. That's why I keep doing that voice. Whenever I see him, it's just, I don't know, just podunk south.
Yes, just stay tuned for more on that saga, I guess.
Yep, I mean that's what F1 has been boiled down to is.
I know it's
Rich Energy. The two last place cars and their sponsor. That's what we're talking about now. Not Hamilton and his, dominating driving skills.
And what, his 6th win at Silverstone?
Who cares?
Oh.
It's
6.
You mean it's Mercedes' 6th win as of late.
Well, whatever.
Hamilton just happened to be in the car.
I guess,
yeah. Yeah.
That's just what F1 feels like anymore. It's not a driver sport. It's a team. It's just a team sport. I mean, racing's a team sport. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like I've been saying, if Hamilton wasn't in the car, you could, insert any driver of the top 20 in this car, and they're winning every race.
Yeah, I think he's an amazing driver. But
I'm not taking that away from him, no. But
it's always one of those things. It's like you always wonder who, what other drivers would do in his position. But like I think for me, like I thought Gasly was like really impressive in the Toro Rosso last year, and then
Yep.
coming and seeing him in Red Bull this year, it almost is like he surprised me that he hasn't been a bit more spectacular. You know what I mean? Like, because I honestly expected him to be winning races. And obviously, like one reason or another, obviously you never know what's going on behind closed doors. But yeah, he just hasn't been as spectacular as I thought he would be. But I think it just at the end of the day, what I'm referencing to is like there's a lot of drivers that you kind of would think will do a lot in, you go, oh, if they're in a better car, they would do better or something like that. But at the end of the day, Hamilton is racing Bottas, who's an extremely good driver in his own right, and
sure.
makes him look pretty average. So, yeah, I think he's pretty, obviously he does a lot of different stuff outside the car, but he's pretty amazingly talented.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, like Rossi's a perfect example. I mean, when he was in F1, and we all knew who Alexander Rossi was. He was the guy in the back in a Manor car, not doing anything, and you think he's a bad driver, but no, that's not the case. He made it to F1, so he's obviously got talent. And then he comes over to Indy, and 5 races later, he's an Indy 500 champion. So
yeah,
it just goes to show you F1. It's really hard to gauge the talent level of the driver you're rooting for, because the cars are so not even. It's just amazing how imbalanced it is. And then you come to IndyCar where it's basically when a driver wins or beats whoever, it's because they were the better driver that weekend, not it was the better car that weekend. So. And I think that goes for right down to USF 2000. I mean, IndyCar is I mean, I'm not really sure if F2 and F3 are just as horrible with the parity, so to speak. But with USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 and Indy Lights, it's driver. The cars are, they're, spec sure, but there's a lot of things you can change on them. So the team does make a difference, but at the end of the day, a great driver is going to get more out of a bad car than than an okay driver can get out of a good car. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the biggest difference I've seen, and I think a lot of just race fans are seeing, and that's why IndyCar and Road to Indy is getting the amount of praise and just the constant the constant gain in popularity as of late, I think.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, and you're definitely coming up in the perfect time. I mean, like honestly, like I feel like Pato not being in IndyCar right now, it's just he's just like it feels like he's a year or two just too early for what the sport really needs to be for him to succeed in it. With not having such a large sponsorship behind him yet. But then when you have Red Bull, you have to say yes, So I don't blame him. And plus, it was really the only road he had to go. Because right now, Carlin's fighting Foyt for being the worst team out there, and they're doing everything they possibly can to achieve that goal.
With unfortunate, but
yeah.
I think Colin will every championship that they've raced in, they've been strong in throughout Europe and things like that. And that's a team that I like definitely respect a lot, and I think that
Definitely.
they'll be strong in a few years to come.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a joke with the driver line. It's just I always make I always make jokes. Sage, everybody knows my feeling on him, but Connor's a good guy. I like Connor a lot, but and then you figure if those two are driving, that means Chilton's not driving. It's like, well, it's not getting much better. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of a few empty seats next year come with Carlin. I think they're going to have a full driver changeover. Hopefully, they're able to get some really good drivers in next year. Who knows? Maybe Pat will be back, but I think the whole Indy thing, and bump day really hurt them bad, like across the board. It's just amazing how bad bump day can really be for one team. But it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, but how about bump day this year? Was that just some of the most amazing drama you've seen in racing in a long time?
That was pretty wild. I probably wasn't expecting Alonso to get bumped. That was probably the biggest surprise for me.
Definitely.
But obviously, it's very unpredictable, and you can never expect anything to obviously at Indy to no one's just kind of granted to be in the race. You know what I mean? Like obviously Hinchcliffe last year, and even Penske in the 90s or 80s. I forget what year that was exactly, but obviously I think it was the year after they just won. They didn't make the race. You know what I mean? So it's
I think it was
yeah.
Was that 93? I think 90 was that 93? I think maybe. Or maybe been late. I mean, I know Penske went through. I mean, I think the latest one was before Carlin was Andretti.
Yeah.
Was it 4 cars, 5 cars? I think he didn't. That might have been the year Ryan Hunter-Ray bought a seat. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe 2011. I don't know. That's a lot of cobwebs. That's 8 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so okay, I guess we're done with the F1 talk. Anyways, moving on with that. Missy, do you have
Hunter? Do you just want to throw out where they can find you at?
Yeah.
I know we got. He's probably got to go now. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just broke up. What did you say?
Oh, I said, where can they find you at on social media? Just the stuff
So
out there, 'cause I know you guys-
Instagram, Facebook. My name's obviously it's my Hunter McElrea, no spaces or dots or underscores or anything on Instagram. Same with Twitter, and then just Hunter McElrea on Facebook as well for my page. Kind of all simple. So just Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all the usual stuff. So yeah, we'll hopefully see everyone on there.
Right on. Because we kind of went a little bit long on the F1 talk there, and I know you have the dinner engagement to make it to. So before we had to let you go, real quick, want to make sure we got your social media stuff out there and everything. Do you have a central website there that people can go to as well?
I have a website that is currently being made, but my website actually just has all my social media links on it, so it's just huntermcrae.com. But yeah, that should be up soon.
Well, we'll definitely post it up as soon as it gets up, and we'll also post up all of the social media so everybody can find you and follow you, and so they'll know what's going on with you and the next few events coming up and everything. And wish nothing but the best, man. Definitely.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come on.
Definitely. But before we let you go, we'll finish up real quick with the IndyCar. No? Are we done? Okay. I'm sorry. Missy's shaking her head. I'm sorry.
We'll finish up.
Yeah,
I know Hunter's got to go. We don't want to keep
I mean, I can keep you on for another 15 minutes, and then you'll be late. So.
Yes, Hunter. Thank you for coming on.
Yep. Easy.
Anytime.
Real easy to talk to, man. Love chatting, racing with you. So, and looking forward to having you on again towards the end of the season. And just again, man, be fast and be safe. And we'll see you in Mid Ohio.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, Hunter. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks.
All good, guys. I'll speak to you guys later on.
Alrighty.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Take care. And that was Hunter, Missy.
That's Hunter.
Hunter McElrea, McElrea.
Yep, currently second place in the USF 2000 championship.
Yep, I think he's going to. He's definitely got the momentum going, Miss. I mean, Darren Keene is behind him. I mean, Cape Motorsports is always really, really tough. They're always at right there. The first two runs anyway. I mean, is Cape in Indy Lights right now? No, right?
No.
You think they're going to be next year?
I don't think so.
That makes you wonder why.
I mean, I think they're comfortable in USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000.
Oh yeah, I would say they're very comfortable. Yeah, being as though they've won every USF 2000 championship for how long now? I can't remember last time they didn't win it. Yeah. But if there's going to be a year that they don't, it's going to be it's going to be Hunter with past racing this year. Definitely. That's really cool for Hunter to come on though. Just a really easygoing cat from down under. So, from the Gold Coast, that's crazy. Can you imagine seeing a great white breech like that? That's in person. It scared the heck out of me.
I know. Yeah, we were talking to him about that before the show.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, I said, because I watched an episode called like Alien Sharks or something, and actually, this is for all listeners, look up the goblin shark. That thing is weird, scary looking. Yeah. Would not want to run into that. I think
but
I'd be a little more scared of that.
Isn't it very docile and harmless to humans?
It's a shark. There is no such thing as docile to humans when you're a shark. Get out of here.
Whale shark.
Well, I guess maybe a whale shark because they don't eat, they eat plankton and stuff or whatever.
Nurse shark.
No, nurse shark's got teeth, sharp teeth. That's a meat eater. He don't eat no plankton.
Yeah, but still, I mean, we basically snorkeled with nurse sharks, and nobody was afraid.
Excuse me.
Well, you were.
Yes,
the
I
only
was.
one.
As soon as he said, "Oh, look, there's a nurse shark. Who wants to pet it?"
Missy's
I was like, "Nope,
"Ah!"
I'm done." I did not scream. I just said, "Nope, I'm done. Out of the water. No. No. You don't mess with Mother Nature like that." But no, I am serious though. Look up goblin shark. YouTube that. Just throwing that there. All right, back to IndyCar.
They just found a minor planet out in the Kuiper Belt, and they call it the Goblin Planet.
No, IndyCar.
Well, we can't.
Here we are. Nope.
We can't talk
Nope.
astronomy.
This is not way off topic.
Oh, okay.
So we're going IndyCar, who was in Toronto. I'm going to keep talking. Who were in Toronto this weekend on the streets of Toronto. So our winner this weekend was Simon Pagenaud, storming back, followed by Scott Dixon and Alexander Rossi was your podium. Then we had Joseph Newgarden, Felix Rosenquist, James Hinchcliffe, Colton Herta, Sebastian Bourdais, Graham Rahal, Marco Andretti in 10th. Then you had Santino Ferrucci, Ed Jones, Zach Veach, Max Chilton, Spencer Piggott, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, Will Power, Matthias Lace, Marcus Ericsson, Sage Karam, and Takuma Sato was your finishing order.
So Sato finished last, and it wasn't. I mean, did he fight anyone after
No, he
the
had a
race?
mechanical issue.
Did he? I mean, did he punch his
All right,
team?
whoa. Back up.
Did he?
I watched the video. That's an exaggeration. There was no punches thrown, all right? There was no punches.
You're right. I mean, he karate chopped.
There was no
Bourdais in the
punches
neck.
thrown. Stop it. There was no punches thrown.
He crane kicked Bourdais.
People saying there was punches thrown need to rewatch the video. There was no punches thrown. Stop that. Stop that nonsense.
I mean, Sato had a good hold on his helmet. I mean, he was throwing Bourdais around like a rag doll with one hand. I mean, did you see him? I mean, you seen Bourdais' feet go up in the air, and then
oh, good Lord!
smacked
Stop.
him,
See, this is how rumors start. Stop it.
He stood on Bourdais' car and smashed him on the left side and the right side. He totaled Bourdais' car with Bourdais with one hand, and Sato's like 4 feet tall.
Nobody better believe Frank, I swear. After all this time, you better not believe a word he's saying right
I don't know how Sato became a cartoon character all of a sudden, but
So, anyway, yes.
because it looked like a cartoon fight, Sato against Bourdais. It looked like a child was basically manhandling a giant. Two old men going at it.
Anyway, so that was Toronto this weekend. I mean, the second lap? There was the first caution where Will got a little overzealous there.
Stupid, you mean?
Yeah, I mean he did have a nice run, but he should have backed off.
Yeah, he had a nice run right into the tire barrier.
Yeah, I didn't think. No, he hit
or whatever happened.
He hit Graham Rahal.
Well, not for nothing. Graham kind of deserved that from last year.
Oh,
I think Will did that on purpose.
Oh, stop!
He's like, "Hey, Graham, remember when you took the leaders out here? In case you forgot."
No, yeah, he got a little overzealous there. So
he got a little Graham Rahal there.
He got a little Charlie Kimball.
You got a little Charlie Kimball against Graham Rahal. That's a paradox right there.
No, so and then he wound up, bringing another caution out where he just, I think,
ended up in the tire barrier.
Yeah, ended up in the tire barrier like on the last lap.
All by himself.
Yeah,
I think his car might have been screwed up from.
Helped his buddy out, Simon, for that win.
Hey, Pags, Pagano was. He deserved the win.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he had a good
even
run.
if Will didn't, Dixon made up some. Dixon again. Dixon made up some time, but he ran out of it as well. And Pagano deserved the win. Definitely, he earned it. The right man won this race. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the best way I can put it. The right man won this race.
No, yeah, definitely.
Are we agreeing?
Yeah.
It's weird. I didn't know what else. I didn't know what to say. So I figured.
But Joseph Newgarden is still leading the championship. However, the gap is a little teensy now. It's 4 points separating him and
There's
Alexander
nothing
Rossi.
teensy about Joseph Newgarden, all right? I don't know what that meant.
There's only 4 points separating him and Alexander Rossi now. And Simon has crept in there at 395 points.
How many inches are separating them now?
4. You're so childish. Just childish. Use yourself. So anyway, so Joseph has 434 points. Rossi's got 430, and then Simon has 395.
You think Simon can win this championship?
I don't see why not.
You think he's gonna? No.
No, I think it's going to be a battle between Newgarden and Rossi. And I would like to see Rossi win.
Yeah, I would like to see Rossi win the championship as well.
I mean, I like Joseph Newgarden. I like Alexander Rossi. I think I might like Alexander Rossi more. than
by
Joseph
by
Newgarden.
how many inches?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
But hey, and Marco Andretti at night, the racing becomes a lot closer. So maybe 2 inches at night.
I can't with you.
What does Marco Andretti know about racing, like close racing? Night or day? He does. It's a news article worthy story when the man breaks into the second round of qualifying. I'm not joking. It's the truth. I mean, when's the last time Marco made in the second round of qualifying? Go. Last weekend. There you go. See what I mean? Crazy, huh?
Detroit last year, he got a pole, didn't he?
Yes, he did. See what I mean? You know this. When was Will's last pole? There's been so many. Exactly. You don't remember.
His last one was this year.
I know. Yes. I mean, I
which
personally
one.
remember when it was. I just want to see if you did.
The Jeep? No, not the Jeep.
No, that was Pagano.
Yeah, he won all that.
Yeah,
Oh,
Pagano
Lord.
swept the month of May of everything you could, except for the pole of the 500.
Wait, there was St. Pete. No, he didn't get St. Pete. Coda, no. Barber, no.
No, not Barber.
Long
Do 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 do. How fast can Missy Google this answer?
St. Pete? Was St. Pete one of them?
Did Will get pole at St. Pete this year? I don't think so. I didn't think so. I mean, it was.
Yes, he did.
Coda.
So.
Yes. Yeah, but the last one was Coda.
Uh,
Last one was Coda. So
whatever.
you
St. Pete. He
wait.
got it.
Will got pole at Coda, didn't he?
No, I don't think so. Oh, wait, yeah, he did.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he did.
Yes, he did.
He should have won it too.
So he had St. Pete and Coda. Those were his 2 poles this year.
Yeah, I mean, well, normally Will sets track records at St. Pete, not just poles. You know, especially when he's close to death.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. How
having
inspiring
a rough
was it
year
to
this
see?
year.
Yeah, but how inspiring was it to see Wickens, leading the field?
I cried.
Did you?
I cried. Yep.
I got a bit misty seeing that.
Yep. I got misty-eyed.
You got misty-eyed?
Yeah, I got misty-eyed.
Yep.
I wasn't crying any big fat tears now.
Oh, she was blubbering. I mean, I had to bring
I
out
was
the
not.
roll of paper
Don't even try
towels
that.
because the box of tissues was gone.
Liar. Just a little misty-eyed, that's all.
It was inspiring.
That was nice to see. And thankfully his surgery went well today, so.
Yes, it did. They took all the equipment out, he said, is how he put it. And hopefully the
Yeah, one of the screws was
infected.
yeah.
Yep. But hopefully what did he say that they took everything out so he can get back on his rehab regimen and
Yeah, I think it's like a 6-week.
yeah, but he's just I mean, yeah, it's a slight setback, but I mean the stuff had to come out anyway. So it was a surgery that was going to happen whether he got infection or no infection. Just kind of sped up the process a little bit, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if that's exactly true, but the way he put it and how he kind of talked about afterwards, it sounded like it was a surgery that was going to have to happen anyway. I could be wrong, but you figure if everything that they took out that he needed, they'd be putting it back in after the infection was gone, right? But they're not. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't like to speculate on that. I'm an OBGYN nurse.
That's true. There's not much.
You got a
with,
question about women in labor,
I was gonna say Wiccans. I don't
female
think
reproductive
much,
organs. I am there.
Yeah. Which Wiccans has none.
No, he does not.
He's married to one, but
Nah, they're engaged.
oh,
Their wedding is September.
right on.
So that was Toronto this weekend. I think
Grade, miss? Grade?
I'm gonna give it a
B minus.
Damn you.
I know her
B
too
plus.
well. I know her too well. She just changed that answer just to prove me wrong that I don't know her as well as she hates that she knows that I do. Yep. Missy B minus. If I knew Christian, he would agree with her because he agrees with everything Missy says and nothing that I do. And so I'll be the oddball and go B plus. I thought it was a really good race. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it had everything you want in a race, and apparently the TV ratings were healthy. The track attendance was very healthy, and IndyCar is just the healthiest it's been since the reunification. So let's call it that. So I'm happy with where the sport's going. They're not really faltering anywhere that I can see that's got me up in arms about anything. How, Missy, you? Is there anything you think IndyCar can be doing better right at this moment, or you think? What do you think?
No, I think they're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I mean, all the years before, maybe the past 2 years before that, we were constantly complaining about the front office and what they're doing and everything else, but yeah, I mean, Jay Fry has just been he's been making all the right moves. Mark Miles is making all the right moves. Hopefully they make another right move by making a deal with Pocono to keep it. I hope that that's a reality, and they really don't need to talk about Pocono until it happens, because whatever does become of that deal, we won't find out about until Pocono comes up, just like they did 2 years ago. So it's just nobody was talking about it 2 years ago because the series wasn't as popular as it is right now. That's the only reason why they're talking about it now. So no reason to talk about it now, to be honest. We'll find out. But really looking forward to a night oval race. Really enjoy night oval races, just night racings in general, but we don't get a whole lot of night races in IndyCar other than, Texas and now Iowa, right, miss? I can't think of any other race that's at night. There's no road or street courses that are at night.
Yeah.
Which, that's the one thing F1 does have, but they're in the desert, so you kind of need to. But I would really like to see a street or a road course that's like a night race that IndyCar can start doing. But it'll probably be abroad, and that's fine. But I would really like to see that. How about you, miss?
Yeah, I'd like to see a night street race. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
It's something we really don't ever get to see in IndyCar. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be in Iowa, so I encourage anybody that's going to be in Iowa also to don't be a stranger. Hit us up on the Twitter box, and be happy to say hi and spend some time with you, talking whatever you feel like talking about. Looking forward to seeing the Davises there, and Christian will also be with us, so the whole ISCP crew will be there. Looking forward to that. I don't know, miss. Poll in winner, and then we'll get out of here for Iowa.
Iowa. Poll, I'm going to give it to, I think Will Power makes a comeback here, and Rossi wins it.
You know what? I'm gonna I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say Rossi gets the pole, but Will gets the win.
What? What?
That's right.
You picking somebody else besides Will?
Well, I didn't want to agree with you, and I did pick Will for the win. So I'm still sticking with what I normally do. So, but I mean, Will or Rossi. I mean, I want to see Rossi win the championship. To be honest with you, I think it would be great to see Rossi on his way out of Andretti Autosport with a championship.
Well, that'll be a discussion for all
and
season.
and right into Team Penske in that fourth car that Team Penske Roger's going to bring back out. That's all speculation, by the way.
So this weekend, night race, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. So.
Saturday.
And on that note, you know that I know that Frank and Christian, I'll say Christian too, but everyone knows, even Hunter knows, Iowa is going to be great this weekend, you know?
Can't wait. Night race. That was good. Having Hunter on, Hunter was great, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.